Sorry, thought.
Thought about it. Me, meow. What? I'm raiding! Woo! Let's go! Asaltante Oso, that bear you all know. Out of hibernation to entertain Raider Nation. What's up, fam? Oh. Rockin' Raider Wolf tonight. It's turning. It's turning. Often imitated, never duplicated. That fool with no head that shouts like Ric Flair. Woo! The Raider Bear! That was not a dab. That was my move. Dabs, you go into the elbow. That was not a dab. No. What's up, fam? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you tuning in. Remember, if you enjoy the show, please like and subscribe. Now, if you do, look for me on Patreon as well. It's a little bit less expensive as Facebook. I haven't adjusted my price on Facebook yet, but I am. But if you can, subscribe because it helps me help charities all over the world that we've been supporting for years and years and years now, as we are in year 10 of Raider Bear Family Page. And you YouTubers, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. So let's get to what we get to at about this time, and that would be Tradish! Oh my God. Sorry, this other bling. I was going to show you the other bling too. Look, check it out. Raging Raider Rhino. His is dope. I really like that. I like Raider Wolves, but it's a little bit harder to make out like what's going on with it. I have to, when people see me wearing it on the street, I have to kind of explain to them what's going on. Okay, you see the ears up here? Those are Wolf's ears. You mope. They're not Raider fans, so they can't understand. And then, and then the Bagow Raider Bear. I know which one you like the best. Come on, tell the truth. All right, anyway. First place, gold medal, numero uno, the winner tonight, El Jefe. S.A. Big Dog. S.A., what are you doing here, man? You know I can't tell you. I can't even tell the teacher. Because when the teacher walks down the hallways, the rows in the classroom between all the students, she will often say, Bear, your work the other night, turn in your essay. I'd be like, hey, I'm old school, man. I don't ever turn in my essay. It took me a while to get there, but it's a funny joke. Second place, my silver medal goes to someone, but my screen just went dead. Okay, there we go. Goodness. The champion of the world, Mark Vargas. That 5-emoji making son of a gun I like so much. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you. Always tuning in. Raider Bear Family page. Appreciate you, brother. Oh, wait a minute. I had an unexpected bronze medalist tonight. Who's been messing with my weapons? Now you know who it is. DPC David Pell Kalima. my guy right there. Mount Rushmore in the house. Legend of Raider Bear family page in the house. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Honorable mention to John, the Lion Leon. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Oh, and of course, when we go to Facebook, we already know what's up. It is consistently known now. This might as well be the position of his pimp slap instead of me just showing him respect. You know who it is. Carlos! Boy, kids! You need to stop it, Carlos. You have now officially started dominating for I don't know how long now. I'm very impressed because gold medal on Facebook is on lockdown. Second place, my silver medal goes to the G-Man himself, Jim Garrison. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for Raider Bear. Appreciate you. And look at you in the gold and the silver medal round tonight. The G-Man, Jim Garrison. He kind of bounces around bronze, silver, gold. Bronze, silver, silver, bronze, gold. It's kind of like that. How'd that go again? Third place, my bronze medal goes to two people. Steven and Mrs. Shaw. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for Raider Bear. Appreciate you. Honorable mention, of course, goes to LP, my guy right there, the sultry sounding son of a gun, who, let you guys win one today because I posted my show earlier than normal. So there you have it. Oh, another honorable mention to handsome Joe Holman. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you. All right. Mike Henderson's in the house. I see all my usual peoples. Eric Bell, what's up, man? Yeah, it has been a while. Good to see you. Much love from Boston. I appreciate you. My nephew went to college in Boston and graduated. Although I apologize, I can't remember exactly which school it was, but it was one of your like prestigious schools. I can't remember which one it was, but he went there and graduated, and he loved it there. And you guys get a bad rap, I think, sometimes about racism. There's racism everywhere. You know what I mean? It's just everywhere. To say it's like greater in Boston, they had a reputation, I feel like, 40, 50 years ago. But I feel like that's softened a little bit. Part of it's sports. Part of it's the people integrating more and more as Boston gets older. And, yeah. And because my nephew, like I said, my nephew went to college there for 4 years. He graduated. Never had a problem. Never had a problem. Never once. Never had anyone give him a hard time, call him outside of his name. Nothing. So that's just my story. Richard Freeman, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Richard Freeman the third. I, too, happen to be a third, brother. What's up? Welcome to the show. Nope, is that not it? I thought I turned it off. Oh, sorry. I thought I turned that off, and I did not. Let me see here. Richard Freeman the third. What's up, man? Checking in from Winnemucca, Nevada. What's up, man? If I miss your live stream, are you on Apple Podcasts? I don't know if I'm Apple Podcasts, so I would say no, I am not on Apple Podcasts. But you can get replays of me on YouTube. So check out my YouTube page. And please like and subscribe, Richard. It's been a minute, Bear. What if the F-up talk is Burrows could be coming along? Louis Holguin, you talking about the Joe Burrow speculation? Honestly, I'm a Raider fan. I don't really have time to say, gee, I don't know about really any quarterback. If the guy has a pedigree, if the guy's even somewhat proven, then I want to look at the guy. Now, if you said to me it's Kenny Pickett and he was still with Pittsburgh, I would have said, no, I don't want to go that route. That would be a waste of time. He may be available. He may have looked like he was going to be a decent prospect in school, but we've seen what he is now. He has little tiny hands, and he can't do much with them and needs gloves just to keep his grip on the ball. So no, that's not working for me. I honestly would look at Burrows just because he's shown some pedigree. He fought against the fact that he had a terrible offensive line, and he was yet still able to bring that team to the playoffs. And he played, pretty well throughout the regular season. I would look at him. We just all know he's made of glass. You know what I mean? But our number one priority anyway is what? Offensive line. I mean, yes, it's a quarterback. We got to get a quarterback. But I'm saying beyond that, it's offensive line. I would make my second and third picks offensive lineman. Now, mainly because this draft, in my opinion, is pretty deep in offensive linemen. We'll go into that in a minute. We'll also talk about the quarterbacks coming into the draft. We'll talk about that in a moment. But just answering this question specifically, I like Joe Burrows. I'm not a fan, you know what I mean? But at the same time, can he play? I think Joe Burrows can play. I love the attitude, you know what I mean? But, teams got tape on him. And whenever a team gets tape on a guy, the second, third, and fourth year, it can be tough on any quarterback. It was tough on him in two ways. They found out the tape on him, what his tendencies are, what he likes to do, and they found out that he's, not a sturdy guy. He if you hit him hard enough times, he usually gets hurt. Geno not playing is like a parade in itself. Ray Freed, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. He says, I am for the Niner. I'm guessing you're a Niner fan. Welcome to the show. Your team's doing well. I don't know how to feel about Christian. Just because you're on the show, I want to just say something to you, too. Just to show you I don't discriminate against fans of other teams, no matter what that team may be. Christian McCaffrey, to me, is kind of an enigma. It's like he seems like a Hall of Fame talent, but he's got that bodybuilder body that doesn't have enough fat on it to really protect him from, little injuries and big ones. And so he's had a great year again, but he hasn't had the big injury this year. And I'm concerned for the Niner fans out there that I think that first or second playoff game, he's probably going to go down. I'm not trying to be a ghoul and wish an injury on the guy or anything like that, but I would be concerned. Steven Shaw! Hi, Mrs. Shaw! Appreciate the love on the stars, brother. I ring my bell whenever anyone contributes stars to the show because I appreciate it very, very much. Bobby Ware said, Bear! Let's see. We live 30 minutes from the Eagle Stadium. We're going to the game Sunday. It's supposed to be freaking cold and snow. Let's go, Raiders. That's my guy, Jim G, right there. Boston has always been pretty cool, but South Boston with the crazy Irish was a whole different story back in the day. Right on, Joe. I appreciate that. I'll say Burrows is a great quarterback, but he always seems to be injured. Well, Jim, honestly, I can't refute that, but I feel like if we built an offensive line around him, maybe he could do some things. Because if you notice, it does seem like the majority of the time when he gets hurt, he's getting hit pretty hard. You know what I mean? And I would just like to see the guy have a chance with an offensive line in front of him because we know the Bengals don't have one now, and they haven't had one his entire time there. And I think they were trying to shuffle chairs on that deck, and it turned out to be the Titanic. So, you were going to sink either way. Hendu, what's up, man? Let Geno go to Kansas City so they can have the problem. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter if he gives them our playbook. We're going to have to change it again, with the kid coming in, because I'm pretty confident they're going to pick up a quarterback. Bear, which quarterback would you pick in the upcoming draft next year? All right, let's go forward to that. All right, so I'm looking at all the best quarterbacks in the country. I've already basically said I have kind of a thing for Fernando Mendoza. Now, there are those people who have Dante Moore ranked higher. They have him as the first overall pick. They have Fernando Mendoza as the second overall pick. Now, personally, I'm not saying that one quarterback's better than the other. I'm saying I like the body type of Fernando Mendoza. He's taller, not by a lot, but he's taller, and you can put a little bit more on that frame. Dante Moore, I like too. Don't get me wrong. I've got to see more tape as we go throughout this week. I'll watch more tape, and I'll make more of a decisive decision. I do not like Ty Simpson with Alabama. The only reason I say that is because I don't like Alabama quarterbacks, period. You don't really know what you have until they're on the field. The kid looks all right, but at only 6'2", at only 208 pounds, I'm a little concerned. Also, Dante Moore, by the way, the #1 overall expected pick, is 206 pounds, while my guy Fernando Mendoza is 225. And he's 6'5", and he's a legitimate 6'5". Not one of these guys that's 6'2", and they give him 3 inches to make it sound good. He's 6'5". You know what I'm saying? Whereas, is Dante Moore 6'3"? I got to do more research. But with Ty Simpson of Alabama only 6'2" and weighing in at only 208 pounds, I don't like it. All right, now let's just go down here for a second because I just want to throw a couple names at you. Jaden Malava, 230 pounds at 6'4", and yet still ran a 4.75. And by the way, let me give you the #1 quarterback rankings, okay? 89.6 is the score they gave the first quarterback. Fernando Mendoza was given an 89.3. Ty Simpson, the third ranked, is an 89 even. So pretty close there. 89, 89.3, 89.6. When you get to fourth, it drops down to 86%. Still very good. And then you have Jaden Malava at fifth best at 86.3. I'm kind of looking at that guy. And then look at what the scout wrote in just the little synopsis. The film does not lie about Maivia. He has the arm to make every throw in the route tree, and when he sets his feet and rips it, the ball explodes. Now, I'm sorry. I kind of like that, and I kind of like the fact that he's got that build. You know what I mean? You know how Tongan, Samoan, Hawaiian guys are. They're all, they've got the potential. You don't see too many skinny ones. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I kind of like that guy a lot. I like the odds of him being a good quarterback. And Kevin Kahu Hano is here as I'm saying this. But see, I picked the island boy. I really, though, Geno, a.k.a. Jamarcus Russell 2.0, was really going to do something. But next, Roger Rother, personally, I thought he was too. And when I'm talking to my audience, I have a habit of reminding them, when I'm right, I tell you, but when I'm wrong, I take my lumps. And I was wrong about Geno Smith. I felt like his partnership with his coach and Pete Carroll and what they did in Seattle. And don't forget, while in Seattle, Geno Smith was there for 3 seasons, and he had 2 winning seasons out of the 3. And the third one, which was the worst season, was when he knew he wasn't going to be on the team anymore. He knew he was going to have to fly and buy a new home and have a new coach and all those things. And then he lucked into the fact that Pete Carroll came right behind him to the Raiders. But it didn't work because Pete wanted to run what Pete wanted to run. Wow, I'm sorry, guys. I got all these alarms on here, and I'm trying to turn this off so that it doesn't do that, but it's not going to allow it because it's just giving me a hard time. Okay, there we go. Now it won't give me a hard time. All right. Oh, Steven, she said hi. Nice. Hi, love. Okay, so I really, we said that about Jamarcus. Thank you, love. I don't really need that right now. I actually turned it off, so it's no big deal right now. But thank you, Mama Bear. Always watching out for Raider Bear. Stunning. I know, right? It's almost not fair. The life I live. Tony, make it dip. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. I watched Indiana beat Ohio State. I thought Mendoza looked good. I'd take him in Vegas. Let's go. Honestly, that's kind of my guy. You know what I mean? Maivia, I'm also, I'm saying, hey, I wouldn't hate that pick. That's all I'm saying. I don't feel like you always have to go for whoever's #1 or whoever's #2. Part of scouting is recognizing the mold of the talent that's coming out of school. And I see 2 molds. I see Mendoza and I see Maivia, and I see them both being guys that are going to mature into a body that's going to be a little bigger once they get into year 2 and year 3, and they're going to slow the game down up here, and they're going to be good players. But which one do you want? You know what I mean? I like Mendoza. I do. I like all the intangibles, but the body on Maivia, I like it. You notice I've said his name 3 different ways. It's just so in case I get one right. Damn it. I want the best defensive end in the country in the first round. Well, Joe, I want that too. But at the same time, a quarterback can change things for us. And then we can attack the position of defensive end and getting someone for max. You know what I mean? Because to be honest with you, when I say I would use our 2nd and 3rd pick, on offensive linemen, that's only half true. That's more of an impulse. See, because like I was saying, there's some depth in this offensive lineman group. And I'm going to go through that with you in just a minute. But I mean, there's some depth in this offensive line group. What's up, Eric? Can you give me a shout out to my fiance, Elaine? She was a Rams fan. And I converted her to Raiders! Elaine, don't mind the losing. Okay, it's going to get better. I promise. It's going to get better. And we happen to have more Super Bowls than the Rams do. Way to go, Antonio. Good job, brother. Let's see. Troy Gill said, to hell with the quarterback and trade down. More picks. Troy, that's not a bad decision. I've always been on board with that. When you trade back and you stockpile picks, you have greater odds of landing on the guy that everyone missed, because there's always a handful of guys that come out of nowhere and just adjust to the NFL better than some of the other guys who were higher ranked than they were. There is an argument for a talent scout to spot the guy that has a maturity level down deep. And if you can spot that, those are usually the kind of guys that when they get to the NFL level, they look around, they see the speed, they see the strength, and they go, I could do this. You know what I mean? And there's a confidence level there. I would remind people about Thayer Munford. Now, Thayer Munford isn't necessarily really working out for us. It is not necessarily, I'm not even sure if he's still on the roster, but Thayer Munford, I remember one day he came to the mic and he had a huge smile on his face. And the reporter just went, wait, before we all start asking him football questions, what's with the big smile? And Thayer Munford's smile got bigger. And he said, you know what? He said, I know I can play with the best. I had Max Crosby in front of me and all of our guys today, and I had a damn good day. And I just know if I can do that with my guys, I can do that with any guys. I was like, woo, damn, tell him. But, didn't work out. But at least he thought that way, though. You know what I mean? Let's see. Mark Vargas says Fernando's younger and a brother, also a quarterback at Indiana. Yeah, like I said, if you put my back against the wall, okay, and say, Bear, you got to choose one. I would go with Mendoza. I think he's going to be a little bit faster, for example, physically. I think he'll be able to do that. See, for example, Maivia might have a similar 40. I'll check that in a second. But even if his 40 times similar, I would say the start, stop, and start kind of speed probably would go to Mendoza, just because Maivia is just a little bit of a bigger guy. And so let me take a look at this here. So his 40 time is 4.75. So yeah, Mendoza's is 4.85. He's actually slower. I'm impressed. And that's with Maivia at 6'4". I'm impressed. But I just, the other intangibles, let me read Mendoza's little, summary they put up here. Mendoza's tape screams West Coast quarterback who will thrive in a timing-based passing game that values precision over power. His ability, there we go. Where we go. Give it back to me. The 6'5", 220-pound quarterback earned 3 ACC Quarterback of the Week honors while completing 66% of his passes during his Berkeley tenure, all while maintaining Pac-12 Academy honor roll status. So he's smart, too. Let's see. Throws with surgical precision between levels, threading windows that don't exist for quarterbacks, lacking his touch and anticipation into intermediate routes. So I like the kid. Everything I'm reading, I like. Mendoza, just nice. Let's see. Good evening, Raider Bear. Nice hat. Appreciate that, Arthur Munoz. Well, Mark Vargas Geno was a bust, and then he rehabilitated his reputation in Seattle. He had 2 back-to-back seasons with them where I think one he made the Pro Bowl. So, he was all right. Kenny Stabler, Plunkett, Pickett. Missed you. Appreciate that, Tony. We don't need to trade back. Get the quarterback, and we can draft the O-line. Yeah, the O-line stuff, let's just go into that now. I was really impressed with that. So the number 1 ranked offensive lineman they have ranked is Spencer Fano. Now, he looks great. He's not, in other words, I like offensive linemen that are big as opposed to wide and they're just fat and can move their feet. I like guys that have genuine size. Now, you've got Spencer Fano at 6'6". You've got the number 2 ranked guy, Francis Maguo, Mauigoa. Francis Mauigoa. I know I'm saying it wrong. Give me a break. I still try. 6'6". And third place, Caden Proctor. Much easier name to pronounce. He's the 3rd ranked guy at 6'7", again, out of Alabama. Now, all of those guys, nice builds as far as bodies. 302 for Fano. Malagua, whose name I'm butchering relentlessly, is 315 pounds. And Caden Proctor, banging the scales at 6'7", the tallest, and 360, 6 pounds. 366? Damn, just a chicken wing off of 400 pounds. But, not bad. I'm looking at his 40 time, a 5'10". That's basically right around what you get from a lot of the, your bigger linebackers. So not too bad. But Fano actually broke 5. He ran a 4.90. So for an offensive lineman, that's fast. Now, but let me go into what I really wanted to get you guys excited about. Now, the overall rating, instead of us going into this and that, because I could find you all the minutia about which offensive lineman is a better run blocker as pass blocker, or better pass blocker as opposed to a run blocker, et cetera, et cetera. We'll go into all that minutia later. But for now, another show. But for now, overall rating, okay? Number 1, Fano is a 90. Number 2, Francis is an 89.8, right on his tails. Kevin Proctor, again, right on his tails, 88.2. Then you have Jennings Dunker, okay? He is a 87.6. Then Isaiah World, 86.7. You notice we're dropping, but we're not dropping out of the 80s, okay? Let me take you all the way down to 11th, 84.7. Okay, then what you could call potentially the next round or the next day would be Drew Shelton at 84.7, Monroe Freeling 83.7, 83.3 for Blake Miller. Let's see, Boston College, we have Jude Bowery at 83.3, JC Davis, 320 pounds, 6'5", 83.2, Boise State, Casey may have played with Ashton Genty. You never know. 316, 6'5", 82.3. And the list goes on into the 80s, all the way to the 24th offensive lineman to pick from. So I'm impressed with that. I think that there's going to be a handful of guys in this draft that can really play and can help the makeup of our team really fast. Add to that Carlos Rogers that we got in this last draft, and the other kid, I forget his name now, but he's been all right too. Nathaniel Frank, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. We do have Cam Miller, but I'm not going to go out on a limb and say I like anything about Cam Miller. I think that was a Tom Brady pick specifically. I think Tom Brady was in the war room and wanted Cam Miller. I don't have evidence yet. But I will be honest with you, I'm looking. And by the way, who was it a week ago that told you that Geno and Pete were all going to be gone? There's going to be a fleshing of a lot of names off this roster, but those 2 are going to go first. Not necessarily in that order. Probably be Pete. Then they'll do what they're going to do with Geno, and then they're going to move on. have a feeling that Pete will step down because of the PR hit. I think he'll step down. I don't think he'll see it as a bad thing because he'll see how the season went. Even if you want to call this tanking at this point, and I think it is, I don't know if he was paid to come in and just run a tank. You know what I mean? I don't believe that. I believe he meant what he said when he said he was going to start winning. Diego Pavia wants to play with the Raiders. Reyes Antonio, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. I like it when guys go right out in the press and say, hey, man, I want to be a Raider. I like that. Jim Garrison. Geno sucks, but we signed him to a 2-year guaranteed big money deal. How do we get out of that mess? Can we dump him, or do we got to keep him next year? I think that's why we haven't benched him, because he's making so much money. Well, we're not going to bench him. They'll end up cutting him or letting him go, and they're going to eat the money. It's just going to go into dead money. I don't have a better answer than that. I just know that that's what's going to happen. Mumford is with the Giants or the Patriots. I forget who, but I just noticed he's been off our team since August. Steven Shaw! Just heard my intro. How loud the foot's in you. Let's draft Mendoza's little brother as our backup the year after that. They are both on Indiana right now. Oh, okay. I don't mind that. That would get competitive, though. Tony, make it dip. I appreciate the subscription, brother. Appreciate the love. You know, honestly, Tony, make a dip. I appreciate the subscription, and I appreciate the statement. I know he is. Brady has pretty much all but said he's a prototypical me. Brady is endorsing him as being a version of him, a guy that isn't the greatest athlete, but up here and technique are going to make him a winner. That's what he sees in Cam Miller. And I can't necessarily argue. The one time we saw Cam Miller, he threw a pretty nice touchdown. Yet again, hoping for a game changer in the draft. Is that what we do? I'm not saying necessarily, but try to remember the Chicago Bears were in the crapper. They were losing games left and right. They were a laughing stock. They went out and took a chance on a young quarterback, and he's panning out. Got a big arm. He's making plays and winning games. You know, he's turned their franchise around. Now guys want to go there. Speaking of guys that want to go there, Henry Ruggs is still trying to get back in the door. He made another pitch to potentially become a Raider. I think the real reason he's to come back to the Raiders, I think the real reason he's doing that is because the PR hit. I don't think any other team wants to take it. I'm not saying that he's not being honest when he says he wants to be a Raider again. He probably does. That's who drafted him. We're the team that showed him the most respect. But I also think that's the path with the least obstruction. Do you understand what I'm saying? Whereas if he tries to go anywhere else, they're going to say, we're going to take that guy that was a Raider that killed someone. You know, I just think that's unavoidable no matter where he goes. But with the Raiders, I think the path is smoother for Henry Ruggs. I don't think it's going to happen, but I want to give my opinion of what I think should happen. I want to make a note and just say mentally, Henry Ruggs made a massive mistake. I don't know if he was drunk. I've never really heard anything said about his alcohol level. And I'm not saying that it wasn't reported. I'm just saying I don't remember there being anything about alcohol mentioned, like he was drunk. I don't remember that. I don't remember if they got that on him. But I bring that up to say if he wasn't drunk driving and was just going fast and he was tired, there's levels to this, but it's still wrong. He ended a person's life. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that ability to make a living, but maybe he needs to make it another way. Should we throw Laki Tassi out there for a play or two? Tana, honestly, I think we should. I always like the idea of finding out what you have. Tony Make a Dip said he heard that Gruden may come back. I think Gruden wants to come back because he likes to coach. He likes working both with young men that he can show his knowledge by drafting in the draft and things like that. He likes working with veterans because he's been out of the league so many times for so long. So he's understood now how to have a relationship with either young guys or older guys. He's forgotten a lot of football than a lot of guys will learn. Having said that, character means something. And I think his character is in the toilet. I think his character indefinitely looks bad. And just like I'm saying, I don't think Henry Ruggs can get another shot. I don't think John Gruden should get another shot. I just don't. I think there's a price to be paid for the things he did and the things he said. And they were greater than just insulting people. He said homophobic things. He said racist things. He said disrespectful things to the commissioner, but not to the commissioner's face. Tried to hide it from him. And then he stumbled on it into after an FBI investigation, which that's not on Roger Goodell. Because remember, those emails had been written quite a lot prior and were just sitting there. And then because of the FBI sting, the emails got exposed. That's not on Goodell. That's on Gruden. Conduct unbecoming of the Shield. You know what I'm saying? Pickett the starter on Sunday. I don't know how they're going to handle that. I know AOC has been cleared to play, but for whatever reason, they're not playing him. I think that they may, in fact, be in full tank at this point. I think we're in full tank at this point. Statistically, right now, we have the number 2 pick locked up. If the season ended today, we would have the number 2 pick overall. And they know that upstairs. And they're going to want to pick someone at quarterback that they think could be the next guy. I'm not even necessarily sure Mendoza's the guy. He's the guy all the scouts think is the guy. He's the guy lots of fans think is the guy. But that guy that's got the eye, the experience, that knows to look for what are his talents, what is his character, what are those intangible things that you have to look for that show a guy that either when he gets there, he can handle it and he rises, or he gets there and he's Gino Toretto and he can't handle it and he falls. Or Ryan Leaf. Guys with massive expectations. Did massive things in college. And then, you know what I mean? Remember Young with Texas? I mean, had everything. Literally every tool. Cannon of an arm. Super fast. Physical specimen. Could run all game. But couldn't stay out of the strip club. I mean, it's true. I love the idea of having Ruggs back. I could see some fans feeling that way, but I just think the PR hit's not worth it. That's an Al Davis move. Well, it would definitely be up to Al Davis, yeah. But I don't think that even he would see that as, yeah, I'm going to be a Maverick and make this move. Ruggs is not getting out soon. He just moved back to a medium custody facility from a low custody facility. Okay, I didn't know that. I appreciate that, Kevin. Kevin reporting for us over here. All Geno's fault and no mention of O-line sucks and wide receivers suck and Brock is only one weapon we have. Well, Troy, although all of those statements are correct, there are other teams that have the same sort of problems we do, and they don't only have 2 wins. Handsome Joe Holman for defensive ends. Check out Keldrick Falk out of Auburn, 6'6", 285. Let's see, or Ruben Bain out of Miami, 6'3", 275. Okay, and fast. Remember the Raiders were the team that took the unwanted. Well, yeah, I mean, and I'm good with them still doing it. You know what I mean? We kind of did that with Pete Carroll because I guarantee you that's not who they wanted. We settled on Pete Carroll, but that's not what they wanted. David Fowler, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. And as an Aussie, would love to see Lockie Tossie get a crack at it. Well, and David, here's the problem. Lockie Tossie is a very good kid, very physical, very ready to play. And when he puts his hands on guys, they don't usually get away. The problem is there is multiple videos of offensive linemen having to push him in the back to tell him this is a run play. It's your gap. get up the field, find the linebacker, and put him on his back. And he would be like, oh, okay. And then the moment he'd have impact with the linebacker, he'd be blocked. And then other times, because his offensive line had to tell him, he wasn't able to recover quick enough because the linebacker was already blitzing over his shoulder, and he was like, whoa, trying to catch up. So he's making rookie, young guy mistakes. And he's a combination in the worst way. He's young, he's a rook, and he has absolutely no experience with NFL football. He's, your guy, he played rugby. So he's absolutely tough enough, but he's got to learn our ways as far as when to know when to move up in the, the offensive line's protection. When do you have to roll and things like that? And he's still having to learn that. If we take Ruggs back, at least 10% of his money's got to go to that girl's family for the duration of his playing with the Raiders. I don't think we'll ever get to that point. Let's see. Let's not win to keep the pick. Tony make a dip. It's hard for me to argue with that at this point. We are where we are. What's the difference if we win a game or two? You know what I mean? We would lose position. We wouldn't really have an opportunity at the best quarterback. We would have to go back to what I was saying, where you would have to scout the hell out of these guys and just pray you pick the right one and you elevate one of them. I don't believe in waiting until the third pick because a quarterback's rated as a third, round guy. Some other team's going to swoop in and take that guy that knows how valuable quarterbacks actually are. They're franchise guys. Every single one that you bring in, you're saying, here's the opportunity to be the franchise guy every single year. And so to me, you got to get your quarterback in the first or the second round. No later. If it's later than that, now they've been rated out of the potential of being a starter. You know what I mean? You need the freakish athletes. You need the guy that put the numbers up in school. And then what are his intangibles, et cetera, et cetera. The only team ahead of us is the Giants, and we play them in a few weeks. If we're in full tank mode, we could have the number 1 overall pick. I don't know necessarily, Andrew, if having the number 1 overall pick is necessarily that big a deal. Now, the reason I say that is because whether you get Dante, Thomas? I'm always forgetting his name. Whether you get Dante Moore, or you get Fernando Mendoza, not really losing too much. You know what I mean? It's sort of Superman or Batman. Who do you really want? I think Dante Moore is more of the Superman, a little bit more of a physical quarterback. I think Fernando's the Batman, a little bit more cerebral, still able to be physical, run a little bit, but not like Dante Moore, in my opinion. One other thing, though, I want to say this about Ty I want to read what was written about Ty Simpson from Alabama, and it says right here in player summary. Simpson stands alone as the most NFL-ready quarterback in the country, a declaration that sounds hyperbolic until you watch him dissect defenses with the precision of a 10-year veteran. Might have spoke too soon on Ty Simpson. That's a big statement. And he's essentially saying up here, he's the most NFL ready. Now, what does that mean? It means he can read defenses. And a lot of these guys come in and they don't really know how to do that because they don't have to know how to do it because they're playing small schools that are just running all sorts of blitz packages and prevent defenses that you can pick apart with ease if you're a halfway decent high recruit going into the NFL. So that's why I don't go off tape. I go off their physical intangibles. What are their tools and were they pedigree? So in other words, I guess what I'm trying to say is whether we got Dante Moore, the number 1 overall pick, Fernando Mendoza, the number 2 pick, Ty Simpson, the number 3 pick. Then we go down. The number 4 pick, Garrett Nussmeier of LSU. Listen to this. Nussmeier enters the 2025 as a prospect whose NFL future hangs on 2 critical questions. Can his 200-pound frame withstand the punishment of NFL guys? So see, he's smaller at only 6'1", and weighing in at 205 pounds. Now, if you say 205 pounds, that's not bad. He's over 200 pounds. Yeah, but he's going to fall under 200 pounds of the rigors of football throughout the season. You lose a lot of water weight, and then you lose some pounds. So that 205 is going to be down to like 190 by the time he gets to the end of the NFL season. Okay, number 5, Jaden Maivia, that's not going to be the same problem at 230 pounds and 6'4". John Mater. Mater projects as a potential high-value quarterback prospect for the 2026 NFL draft. If his development continues on this current pace, he will be an NFL starter. That's John Mater, and he's 6th. Lenora Sellers, NFL projection, the physical tools and development trajectory have scouts salivating at Lenora Sellers. Sellers brings a Jalen Hurts-like level of skill and leadership to the field, and that's the 7th ranked guy. So I like our chances. I really do at getting someone really solid here. Okay, now I just for the sake of argument, okay, I'm going to really go down the board, okay? I'm going to take us all the way down to the 28th pick, Kevin Jennings, 79% overall, 6'4", runs a 4.6 even. Entering the 2025 season, Jennings brings a tantalizing package of physical tools that has NFL offensive coordinators making extra trips to see if this is the dark horse of the draft. That's the 28th ranked quarterback. Now, don't get me wrong, not all these guys are going to pan out, obviously, but I think that no matter how this draft goes down, we have a real shot at getting someone that's going to be able to play potentially. Eric Grossheim, what's up? What about trading for Joe Burrow? We actually talked about that at the beginning of the show, Joe. At the beginning of the show, Eric. I like your profile picture. See you on the beach there. I'm jealous. I haven't been to the water in too long. Now, what do I think of it? I like Joe Burrows. And I had one of my other audience members basically, remind me that, we're the team that has taken on projects that look like they might be on their last legs, and we bring him in and we get something from him. Who has the better attitude as a quarterback that's closer to what we see than Joe Burrows? I mean, Joe Burrow is a cocky guy, man. He would fit Raider Nation perfectly. Now, I've seen that cockiness tail off because he's been getting hurt, but I think it would come right back if we put a nice offensive lineman in front of him and we get to work. Let's see. Tanamoku said, I saw somewhere that if we win just one game, we go back to the 7th or 8th pick. Is that right? Yes. But it may not be quite that far, but yeah. I would say probably at the very minimum, we would drop to the 6th or the 7th. Maybe not 8th, but we would probably, but I mean, it's just as bad. Anything between 6 and 8, you're still going to get a decent quarterback, but there's a chance that at least the top 3 guys could all be off the board at that point. Oh, Steven Shaw and Mrs. Shaw. Appreciate the love, brother. All right, so now let's just get back to that just one more time. So we looked at the linemen. We've been talking about the quarterbacks, but I mean, the depth at linemen is amazing. I mean, there's guys in the high 80s, mid to high 80s, almost 90s until you get to, we've got 85 and up all the way down to the 9th pick, 85.1, and then it finally goes to 84.8 when you get to Caden Green. Okay, teams will covet Green's blend of nastiness and technical ability in the interior offensive line. He brings a day one starter potential with him, and that's the 10th offensive lineman. You know what I mean? On what's a pretty big list. Let me go down here. Yeah, way down here. Let's go way down here. Okay, number 40 offensive lineman overall, Bram Walden, offensive tackle. That's Arizona State Sun Devils. Shows excellent awareness against twists and stunts, has great vision, and Walden has the strength and flexible core and wide base in his technique to catch and handle just about all moving techniques on a defensive line. How did that sound? He's 6'4", 305 pounds. A little on the smaller side, but not bad. 6'4" is still pretty tall, but 305 is pretty light. But at 6'4", he could probably put on a few pounds. So I don't know. I see. Oh, and he runs a 4.95 40. Damn. I mean, that's running like the linebackers. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. All right, let me see here. So, yeah, man, look at this guy. Cortland Ford, UCLA, 6'6", 315 pounds. Does a nice job on the second level. Very athletic, moving upfield quickly and showing the flexibility and balance to land blocks in space. An excellent offensive lineman. Cortland Ford, he's 37th. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just insane. Insane the quality of guys that are going to be coming out at offensive line. I know everyone was thinking about defensive line too. Maybe some of the edge guys. So maybe we'll cover that. Oh yeah, I've only got a few more minutes. We'll cover that more intense tomorrow night. I'll bring up some of the edge guys. But right now, I'm already seeing number 1 ranked Ruben Bain Jr. Let's see here. Number 2, Peter Woods. Okay, Clemson. And let's see, Keldrick Falk. Looks like he's Arizona University as well. Falk hits the bill of a true defensive cornerstone, capable of transforming a front seven from day one. His exceptional blend of size and power and surprising movement skills are very impressive. 6'6", 285 pounds. Wow. Okay. Peter Woods, now is 6'3". He's a little bit shorter, but he makes up for it at 315 pounds. And then let's see, 6'3", 275 with Ruben Bain Jr. I don't like that. Ruben Bain Jr. might be the number 1 ranked guy in the country, but 275 is a little bit light in the butt at 6'3". Well, I mean, it's big for 6'3", but that's a little bit light in the butt for a defensive lineman, defensive end. Let's see. The resurrection of Ruben Bain from injury casualty to the draft's potential crown jewel represents everything evaluators dream about finding in a defensive end. I don't know. And they have him far and away number 1. They have him at 93.1 as his overall rating. And then with Peter Woods, who's the number 2 guy, he falls out of the 90s. That's at 89.5, which is good, but this is not a deep class for defensive end. I'm already at 86 for the 12th ranked guy. Let's see. 13th, 86, comes all the way. Stays in the 80s, though. Derek Moore, Michigan. And he's nice. Raw power matched with lightning quickness off the edge defines Moore's game, but technical refinement stands between him and consistent play. Okay, we'll see that. Now you're starting to see the critiques in there, too. But he was 24 ranked, so that's a lot of guys that'll be available. I could still see us getting a nice player. I really could. Oops. Give me that raw. Yeah. And then, wide receiver and so on. I mean, to me, wide receiver and so on, those kind of things kind of take care of themselves. You know what I mean? Especially when you consider the draft. I mean, even an average wide receiver can still be, I've been surprised that we haven't done more with Trey Tucker. I really thought Trey Tucker was going to have a nice season for us this year. I really did. And we just couldn't get him there. Tanamoku said, isn't Reese more of a linebacker, or is that just where they'll play him? Well, that's where they may have played him in school, but in the NFL, they'll look at him as a defensive end for sure. And that he can back out of that too and play linebacker or defensive end. Stephen Shaw, I kind of agree. I would start AOC as opposed to Kenny Pickett. I think Kenny Pickett is, a lost cause. I don't see it. I just don't see it happening with him. Like ever. Yeah, I got so many messages coming on. I'm like, hey, Jesus, there's someone at your front door. My ring bell thing is going crazy. Someone go get the front door. This guy is taking over my show. Jeez, who is this guy? All right, that's my show. Much love. Shout out to our armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, Space Force. Would you get out of here, sir? R8RRBEAR! I love you all. I'll see you again soon. R8RRBEAR family page. Don't forget, like and subscribe on YouTube and Patreon. You'll be helping the show out a lot. I love you, and I'll see you again. R8RRBEAR family.